Stop right there. Before you spend another penny, listen very carefully. Right now, I am holding 4 wheat pennies that look ordinary to most people, but hidden among them are 4 ultra-rare wheat pennies that have created real collector excitement across the market. These are not the pennies people talk about every day. These are the coins serious collectors search for, study, and dream about finding. Their combined collector market value has reached an astonishing $1.89, zero, turning simple pocket change into hidden wealth and silent fortune. What makes this even more shocking is that these coins can still be hiding in old jars, coin albums, dresser drawers, forgotten collections, and even pocket change. Most people see an old penny and spend it without a second thought. That mistake could cost them a valuable opportunity. Every one of the 4 wheat pennies in today's countdown has a story, a rarity factor, and collector demand that continues to grow year after year. As we move through the list, the coins become more desirable, more difficult to find, and far more exciting. Some have survived decades in circulation. Others have become collector favorites because of their age, appearance, and historical significance. And when collectors compete for examples with attractive original surfaces, the bidding can become intense. If you own any of the wheat pennies featured in today's video, do not clean them, do not polish them, and do not spend them. Original condition matters. Serious collectors pay attention to every detail. If you believe you have one of these coins, hurry up and contact a professional coin dealer, grading service, or experienced collector for evaluation. Stay until the end, because the final wheat penny is the one that shocked collectors the most. This is rare penny finds, where hidden treasures are revealed, and where ordinary coins can become extraordinary discoveries. Let's begin. Coin number 1. What if I told you that a simple 1944 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark could be hiding in an old coin jar, a forgotten family collection, or tucked away in a dusty drawer, and that while millions were made, some examples have become highly sought-after collectibles? Most people see an old penny and think it's only worth 1 cent. But experienced collectors know that the 1944 Philadelphia wheat penny tells one of the most fascinating stories in American coin history. Before you spend another old penny, stay with me until the very end, because you'll discover what makes the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny so special, how to identify a genuine example, what collectors look for, and why this historic coin continues to attract attention more than 80 years after it was struck. To understand why the 1944 wheat penny is so important, we have to go back to World War II. In 1943, the United States Mint stopped using bronze for pennies because copper was urgently needed for military equipment, ammunition, and communications. Instead, pennies were struck from zinc-coated steel, creating the famous silver-colored 1943 steel cent. While that wartime experiment helped conserve copper, Americans quickly discovered problems with the new coins. They rusted, were often mistaken for dimes, and many people simply didn't like them. As a result, in 1940, the Mint returned to producing bronze pennies. Instead of using newly mined copper, much of the metal came from recycled wartime shell casings. That means every genuine 1944 Lincoln wheat penny represents not only a return to the traditional bronze cent, but also a remarkable chapter in American history, where recycled military materials were transformed into everyday pocket change. If your 1944 Lincoln wheat penny has no mint mark beneath the date, it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. This is completely normal. During that period, Philadelphia cents did not carry a mint mark. Many beginning collectors mistakenly believe the missing mint mark is an error, but in reality, it simply identifies Philadelphia as the mint where the coin was produced. The obverse features Abraham Lincoln's portrait facing right, along with the familiar inscriptions, "I in God we trust, liberty," and the date 1944. The reverse displays the classic wheat penny design with 2 wheat stalks surrounding the words 1 cent and United States of America. Across the top appears E pluribus unum, completing one of the most iconic coin designs in American history. Although hundreds of millions of 1944 Philadelphia wheat pennies were produced, collectors know that not every surviving coin is equally desirable. Most entered circulation immediately after leaving the mint and spent decades passing through stores, banks, restaurants, schools, and businesses across the country. Years of everyday use gradually wore away the original details, leaving only a small percentage in outstanding condition. That's why experienced collectors always focus on preservation. A heavily circulated coin may still have historical significance, but one that has retained its original surface's bright luster and sharp details is much more difficult to find. One of the first things experts examine is the coin's overall eye appeal. Eye appeal is a combination of several characteristics, including color, luster, strike quality, cleanliness, and originality. Two coins with the same date may receive completely different levels of interest simply because one is more visually attractive. Color is especially important for bronze wheat pennies. Over time, copper naturally changes as it reacts with oxygen and moisture. Professional grading, companies classify these coins into three color categories. Brown coins have fully toned surfaces. Red-brown coins retain a mixture of original mint color and natural toning. The most desirable examples are designated as red because they still preserve nearly all of their original bright copper color. After more than 80 years, original red examples have become much more difficult to locate. Collectors also pay close attention to original mint luster. Freshly struck coins displayed a beautiful cartwheel effect that moved across the surface when tilted beneath a light. This brilliant appearance gradually faded through circulation and handling. Coins that still retain strong original luster immediately stand out because they closely resemble their appearance on the day they were struck. Strike quality is another important factor. Some 1944 wheat pennies display exceptionally sharp details in Lincoln's hair, coat, beard, and facial features. The wheat ears on the reverse may appear bold with crisp grain lines. Other examples show softer details because of worn dies or lighter striking pressure. Strongly struck coins generally receive greater appreciation among collectors. Surface preservation is equally important. Even coins that never circulated could receive small contact marks while stored in mint bags alongside thousands of other pennies. Experts carefully inspect the surfaces under magnification, looking for scratches, fingerprints, carbon spots, stains, or environmental damage. Clean original surfaces almost always attract greater collector demand. One mistake many people make after discovering an old wheat penny is cleaning it. They believe polishing the coin will make it more valuable because it appears brighter. Unfortunately, the opposite is usually true. Cleaning removes the original mint surface, creates tiny scratches, and permanently changes the coin's appearance. Once a coin has been cleaned, it can never recover its original finish. If you discover a 1944 wheat penny, leave it exactly as it is. Never use metal polish, baking soda, vinegar, toothpaste, or chemical cleaners. Original surfaces are one of the most valuable qualities any collectible coin can have. Professional grading services evaluate coins using strict industry standards. Specialists examine luster, strike quality, wear, eye appeal, and preservation before assigning an official numerical grade. Even a 1-point increase in grade can make a significant difference because the finest surviving examples become increasingly scarce. Collectors also search for mint-made errors and die varieties. While most 1944 Philadelphia wheat pennies were produced normally, some display fascinating features such as off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, lamination errors, or double dies. These unusual coins are often collected separately because every genuine mint error represents a unique moment during production. Perhaps the most famous story connected with the 1944 wheat penny involves the legendary 1944 steel cent. During the transition back to bronze, a very small number of leftover steel planchets from 1943 were accidentally struck with 1944 dies. These rare coins are among the most famous error coins in American numismatics. A genuine 1944 steel penny is magnetic, unlike the normal bronze version, and authenticated examples have sold for extraordinary amounts at major auctions. While the vast majority of 1944 pennies are bronze, this remarkable mistake continues to inspire collectors to examine every 1944 cent they discover. Auction records consistently show that beautifully preserved 1944 Philadelphia wheat pennies with original red color, sharp strikes, and exceptional eye appeal remain highly desirable. Advanced collectors often compete for the finest certified examples because replacing them becomes increasingly difficult. Beyond collector interest, the 1944 wheat penny represents an extraordinary chapter in American history. Produced during the final years of World War II, these coins symbolize America's industrial strength, resourcefulness, and determination. Even the metal itself tells a story connecting everyday pocket change to one of the most important periods in world history. Imagine where your own 1944 wheat penny may have traveled. It may have purchased a newspaper carrying wartime headlines, bought food for family, or passed through the hands of soldiers returning home after the war. Decades later, it may have been saved inside a coin album or inherited by another generation, quietly preserving its remarkable story. If you're examining a 1944 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark, first confirm that there is no letter beneath the date identifying it as a Philadelphia issue. Carefully inspect Lincoln's portrait, the lettering, the wheat ears, and the overall surfaces. Look for strong, original color, bright luster, and sharp details. Avoid cleaning the coin, and if it appears unusually well preserved, or if it's magnetic, which would be highly unusual, professional authentication is strongly recommended. The Lincoln wheat penny remains one of America's favorite coin series because it combines history, artistry, and the excitement of discovery. Every collector dreams of finding a remarkable example hidden where nobody expected it. So, the next time you search through loose change, open an inherited collection, or discover an old jar filled with pennies, don't overlook the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark. What seems like an ordinary bronze coin may actually be a fascinating piece of American history that survived more than 8 decades. Sometimes the greatest treasures aren't hidden in museums or locked inside vaults. Sometimes they're waiting quietly inside a simple 1-cent coin, ready for someone to recognize the incredible story it has carried through generations. Coin number 2. What if I told you that an ordinary-looking 1945 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark could still be hiding in an old coin jar, tucked away in a forgotten coin album, or sitting quietly inside a family collection, waiting to be rediscovered? Most people would see it as nothing more than an old penny worth a single cent. But experienced collectors know that the finest examples of this historic coin have survived for more than 80 years, making them prized additions to Lincoln cent collections around the world. Before you spend another old wheat penny, stay with me until the very end, because you'll discover what makes the 1945 Philadelphia Lincoln wheat penny so fascinating, how to identify a genuine example, what collectors look for, and why condition can make an enormous difference. The story of the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny begins during one of the most significant years in modern history. World War II was drawing to a close, millions of soldiers were preparing to return home, and America was transitioning from wartime production back to peacetime prosperity. Throughout this historic year, pennies continued to circulate across the nation, helping Americans buy groceries, newspapers, movie tickets, and everyday necessities. Every coin struck during 1945 became part of this remarkable chapter in American history. If your 1945 Lincoln wheat penny has no mint mark beneath the date, it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. During that era, Philadelphia pennies normally carried no mint mark, so the absence of a letter beneath the date is completely correct. Many beginning collectors mistakenly believe that a missing mint mark means the coin is rare or an error, but that's simply how Philadelphia cents were produced at the time. The obverse of the coin features Abraham Lincoln facing right, surrounded by the familiar inscriptions, "I in God we trust above," "Liberty" to the left, and the date 1945 to the right. On the reverse, you'll find the classic wheat penny design with 2 elegant wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, while E pluribus unum stretches across the top. This famous design, created by Victor David Brenner, had already become one of the most recognizable coin designs in American history. Although hundreds of millions of 1945 Philadelphia wheat pennies were struck, not every surviving coin has the same collector appeal. Most examples entered circulation immediately after leaving the mint and spent years passing from one person to another. They traveled through grocery stores, banks, restaurants, schools, gas stations, and countless cash registers before eventually becoming worn from decades of everyday use. That's why experienced collectors pay close attention to preservation. A coin that somehow escaped heavy circulation becomes much more desirable because it still displays the appearance it had when it left the mint over 80 years ago. One of the first characteristics collectors evaluate is eye appeal. Eye appeal combines several important factors, including color, luster, strike quality, cleanliness, and overall attractiveness. Two coins may have identical dates, yet one immediately captures attention simply because it looks significantly better than the other. Color is especially important for bronze Lincoln wheat pennies. Over time, copper naturally reacts with oxygen, causing its appearance to change. Professional grading services classify these coins into three color designations. Brown coins have completely toned surfaces. Red-brown coins display a mixture of original mint color and natural aging. The most desirable examples are designated as red because they retain nearly all of their original bright copper appearance. After more than 80 years, finding a completely original red example has become increasingly challenging. Collectors also examine original mint luster. Freshly struck coins displayed a brilliant cartwheel effect when rotated beneath a light. This shimmering appearance gradually faded as coins circulated through everyday commerce. Coins still displaying vibrant, original luster immediately attract attention because they closely resemble their appearance on the day they were struck. Strike quality is another major factor. Not every coin received identical striking pressure during production. Some 1945 wheat pennies display exceptionally sharp details throughout Lincoln's portrait, including crisp hairlines, a well-defined beard, and strong lettering. The wheat ears on the reverse may appear bold with excellent grain detail. Other examples show softer features because of worn dies or slightly weaker striking pressure. Strong strikes are generally preferred because they showcase the design at its finest. Surface preservation is equally important. Even coins that never circulated could receive small contact marks while stored inside mint bags containing thousands of other pennies. Collectors inspect every area under magnification, searching for scratches, carbon spots, fingerprints, stains, or environmental damage. Coins with clean, original surfaces consistently receive stronger collector interest. One of the most common mistakes made by beginners is cleaning old coins. Many people believe polishing a coin makes it more valuable because it appears brighter. In reality, cleaning almost always reduces collector appeal. Polishing removes the original mint surface, leaves microscopic scratches, and permanently alters the coin's appearance. Once the original finish is gone, it can never be restored. If you discover a 1945 wheat penny, leave it exactly as you found it. Never use metal polish, baking soda, toothpaste, vinegar, or chemical cleaners. Original surfaces remain one of the most valuable characteristics any collectible coin can possess. Professional grading companies evaluate coins according to strict standards. Specialists carefully examine luster, strike quality, wear, eye appeal, and originality before assigning an official numerical grade. Even a 1-point increase in grade can significantly improve collector demand because the highest quality survivors become increasingly scarce. Collectors also enjoy searching for mint-made errors and die varieties. While most 1945 Philadelphia wheat pennies were struck normally, some display fascinating production mistakes such as die cracks, clipped planchets, off-center strikes, lamination errors, or double dies. These unusual coins represent unique moments during the minting process and often become favorites among error coin enthusiasts. Another interesting aspect of a 1945 Lincoln wheat penny is its connection to the end of World War II. Unlike the steel pennies of 1943, the 1945 cent was struck using the traditional bronze composition that had returned in 1944. These bronze coins became symbols of America's transition away from wartime emergency measures and back toward normal everyday life. Auction records consistently show that beautifully preserved 1945 Philadelphia wheat pennies with original red color, strong luster, sharp strikes, and clean surfaces continue to attract enthusiastic bidding. While circulated examples remain relatively available, exceptional mint state coins become much more difficult to locate because so few have survived untouched. Imagine where your own 1945 wheat penny may have traveled. It may have purchased a newspaper announcing the end of World War II, bought a loaf of bread for a family celebrating peace, or passed through the hands of returning veterans beginning new lives. For decades, it may have rested quietly inside a dresser drawer before eventually finding its way into a collection where it remained protected for generations. If you're examining a 1945 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark, first confirm that there is no letter beneath the date identifying it as a Philadelphia issue. Carefully inspect Lincoln's portrait, the lettering, the wheat ears, and the overall surfaces. Look for strong original color, vibrant luster, and sharp details. Most importantly, avoid cleaning the coin. If it appears especially well preserved or displays an unusual mint error or variety, professional authentication may be worthwhile. The Lincoln wheat penny remains one of America's most beloved coin series because it combines history, beautiful artistry, and the excitement of discovery. Every surviving coin represents a small piece of a nation's past, connecting today's collectors with generations who once carried these pennies in their pockets every single day. So, the next time you search through loose change, open an inherited coin collection, or discover an old jar filled with pennies, don't overlook the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark. What appears to be an ordinary bronze cent could actually be a remarkable survivor from one of the most important years in American history. Sometimes the greatest treasures aren't hidden inside bank vaults or museums. They're quietly waiting inside everyday pocket change, ready for someone to recognize the incredible journey they've made across more than 8 decades. What if I told you that a single 1946 Lincoln wheat penny with a D-mint mark could be sitting unnoticed in an old coin jar, hidden inside a forgotten collection, or tucked away in a drawer for decades, while collectors continue searching for the finest surviving examples? Most people glance at an old penny and assume it's only worth 1 cent. But experienced coin collectors know that the 1946 D. Lincoln wheat penny is much more than ordinary pocket change. It represents the beginning of a new era in American history, and the best preserved examples remain highly desirable today. Before you spend another wheat penny, stay with me until the very end, because you'll discover what makes the 1946 D. Lincoln wheat penny special, how to identify an authentic example, what collectors inspect first, and why condition can completely change a coin's collector appeal. The story begins in 1946, the first full year after World War II. America was entering a period of rebuilding economic growth and renewed optimism. Factories that had once produced military equipment were returning to civilian production, families were reuniting, and businesses across the country were expanding. During this exciting time, millions of pennies flowed through grocery stores, banks, movie theaters, restaurants, and neighborhood shops. Among them was the 1946 D. Lincoln wheat penny, struck at the Denver Mint. If you examine the front of the coin carefully, you'll notice a small letter D just beneath the date. That tiny mint mark tells collectors that the coin was produced at the Denver Mint. Although it may seem like a small detail, the mint mark is one of the first things collectors check because it identifies exactly where the coin was struck. The obverse features Abraham Lincoln facing right, along with the familiar inscriptions, "I in God we trust" above his portrait, "Liberty" to the left, and the date 1946 on the right. Turn the coin over, and you'll see the classic wheat penny reverse with 2 graceful wheat stalks surrounding the words 1 cent and United States of America. Across the top appears E Pluribus Unum. This timeless design had represented American coinage since 1909 and would continue for another 12 years before the Lincoln Memorial reverse replaced it in 1959. Although the Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of 1946 D wheat pennies, collectors know that surviving condition matters far more than original production numbers. Most examples entered circulation immediately after leaving the mint. They spent years passing from hand to hand, buying everyday necessities, and gradually wearing down through constant use. That's why collectors become excited whenever they encounter a coin that somehow escaped heavy circulation. A mint state example that still displays its original appearance after nearly 80 years is far less common than an ordinary circulated coin. One of the first qualities collectors evaluate is overall eye appeal. Eye appeal combines several characteristics including color, luster, strike quality, cleanliness, and originality. Two coins with identical dates can receive completely different levels of collector interest simply because one has stronger visual appeal. Color plays an especially important role for bronze Lincoln Wheat Pennies. Over time, copper naturally reacts with air and moisture, gradually changing its appearance. Professional grading, companies classify these coins into three color categories. Brown coins have fully toned surfaces. Red-brown coins retain a mixture of original mint color and natural toning. The most desirable examples are designated as red because they still preserve nearly all of their original bright copper color. After almost 80 years, finding an untouched red example becomes increasingly challenging. Another important characteristic is original mint luster. Freshly struck pennies displayed a brilliant cartwheel effect that moved across the surface as the coin was tilted beneath a light. This shimmering appearance gradually faded through circulation and handling. Coins that still retain vibrant original luster immediately attract experienced collectors because they closely resemble their appearance on the day they were struck. Collectors also examine strike quality very carefully. Not every coin was struck with identical pressure during production. Some 1946 Wheat pennies display exceptionally sharp details in Lincoln's hair, beard, bow tie, and coat. The wheat ears on the reverse may appear bold with clearly defined grain lines. Other examples may show softer details because of worn dies or slightly weaker striking pressure. Strong strikes generally receive greater appreciation because they showcase the original design more completely. Surface preservation is another major factor influencing collector demand. Even coins that never circulated could receive small contact marks while stored inside large mint bags containing thousands of pennies. Collectors inspect every area under magnification, searching for scratches, carbon spots, fingerprints, stains, or other distractions. Coins with clean, original surfaces consistently receive stronger attention. One of the biggest mistakes beginners make is cleaning old coins. Many people believe polishing an old penny increases its value because it looks brighter. Unfortunately, the opposite is almost always true. Cleaning removes the original mint surface, creates tiny hairline scratches, and permanently changes the coin's appearance. Once the original finish has been removed, it can never be restored. If you discover a 1946 Wheat penny, leave it exactly as you found it. Avoid using metal polish, toothpaste, baking soda, vinegar, or chemical cleaners. Original surfaces remain one of the most valuable qualities a collectible coin can possess. Professional grading, companies carefully evaluate every submitted coin using strict industry standards. Specialists examine luster, strike quality, wear eye appeal, and preservation before assigning an official numerical grade. Even a 1-point increase in grade can significantly improve collector demand because the finest surviving examples become increasingly scarce. Collectors also search for fascinating mint errors and die varieties. While most 1946 Wheat pennies were produced normally, a small number display interesting mint-made mistakes such as off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, lamination errors, or repunched mint marks. These unusual coins often become favorites because every genuine mint error tells a unique story about the coin's production. Another reason collectors appreciate the 1946 Wheat penny is its historical significance. These coins were struck during America's transition from wartime sacrifice to peacetime prosperity. Every surviving example represents a nation rebuilding, growing, and looking toward the future. Holding one today is like holding a small piece of that remarkable period in history. Auction results consistently demonstrate that beautifully preserved 1946 D. Lincoln Wheat pennies continue to attract collector interest. Coins displaying original red color, vibrant luster, sharp strikes, and attractive surfaces often become highlights of advanced Lincoln cent collections because replacing them with equally beautiful examples becomes increasingly difficult. Imagine where your own 1946 D. Wheat penny may have traveled. It may have purchased a loaf of bread, a newspaper, or a movie ticket during the late 1940s. It may have passed through the hands of returning veterans beginning new careers and raising families. Eventually, someone recognized it as a wheat penny and saved it, allowing it to survive until today. If you're examining a 1946 D. Lincoln Wheat penny, first confirm the small D mint mark beneath the date. Carefully inspect Lincoln's portrait, the lettering, and the wheat ears on the reverse. Look for strong, original color, vibrant luster, and sharp details. Most importantly, never clean the coin. If it appears unusually well preserved or displays an interesting mint-made variety, professional authentication may be worthwhile. The Lincoln Wheat penny remains one of America's most beloved coin series because it combines history, artistry, affordability, and the excitement of discovery. Every collector hopes to uncover an exceptional example hidden among ordinary-looking pennies. So, the next time you search through old pocket change, open an inherited coin collection, or discover a forgotten jar filled with pennies, don't overlook the 1946 D. Lincoln Wheat penny. What appears to be an ordinary 1-cent coin may actually be a beautifully preserved reminder of America's post-war recovery and one of the finest survivors from an unforgettable era. Sometimes the greatest treasures aren't buried underground or displayed behind museum glass. They're quietly waiting in everyday collections, ready for someone to recognize the remarkable story they've carried for generations. Coin number 4. What if I told you that a single 1953 Lincoln Wheat penny with a D mint mark could be hiding in an old coin jar, tucked away inside a forgotten family collection, or sitting unnoticed in a box of loose change, while collectors continue searching for the finest surviving examples? Most people would never give this old penny a second glance. They assume it's only worth 1 cent because millions were made. But experienced collectors know that the right 1953 D. Lincoln Wheat penny, preserved in exceptional condition with blazing original color and strong mint luster, can become a prized addition to any Lincoln cent collection. Before you spend another wheat penny, stay with me until the very end, because you'll learn exactly what makes the 1953 D. Lincoln Wheat penny special, how to identify an authentic example, what collectors examine first, and why some coins stand out from millions of others struck during the same year. The story begins in 1953, a time when America was experiencing tremendous economic growth. New neighborhoods were being built across the country. Families were buying their first televisions, automobiles filled expanding highways, and everyday commerce depended heavily on pennies. Every trip to the grocery store, every newspaper purchase, every candy bar, and every vending machine transaction often involved a Lincoln Wheat penny. Among those millions of coins was the 1953 D. Lincoln Wheat penny, struck at the Denver Mint. The first thing collectors check is the mint mark. If you look beneath the date on the front of the coin, you'll see a small letter D. That tiny letter confirms the coin was produced at the Denver Mint. Although it seems like a small detail, the mint mark is an important part of the coin's identity and helps distinguish it from Philadelphia and San Francisco issues produced during the same year. The front of the coin features Abraham Lincoln facing right, surrounded by the familiar inscriptions "I in God We Trust" across the top, "Liberty" to the left, and the date 1953 to the right. Turn the coin over, and you'll find the classic wheat penny reverse, where 2 graceful wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent and United States of America. Across the upper edge appears E pluribus unum. This famous design had represented American coinage since 1909 and remained in production until 1958, making the 1953 DE one of the final wheat cents before the Lincoln Memorial design replaced it. Although the Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of 1953 D wheat pennies, surviving condition matters much more than original production numbers. Most examples entered circulation immediately after leaving the mint. They traveled through banks, grocery stores, restaurants, gas stations, schools, and countless cash registers before gradually wearing down through decades of everyday use. That's why collectors become excited whenever they discover a coin that somehow escaped circulation. A mint state, examples still, displaying sharp details and original surfaces after more than 70 years is significantly more desirable than an ordinary circulated piece. One of the first characteristics experts evaluate is eye appeal. Eye appeal is a combination of color, luster, strike quality, cleanliness, and originality. Two coins may receive identical technical grades, yet one may appear much more attractive because of stronger visual appeal. Color plays an especially important role with bronze Lincoln Wheat Pennies. Over time, copper naturally reacts with air and moisture, gradually changing its appearance. Professional grading, companies classify these coins into three color categories. Brown coins have completely toned surfaces. Red-brown coins retain a mixture of original mint color and natural aging. The most desirable examples are designated as red because they preserve nearly all of their original bright copper color. Finding a completely original red example after more than 70 years becomes increasingly difficult. Collectors also pay close attention to original mint luster. Freshly struck pennies displayed a brilliant cartwheel effect that moved across the surface when rotated beneath a light. This shimmering appearance gradually faded through circulation and handling. Coins that still display vibrant original luster immediately stand out because they closely resemble the way they looked when they first left the mint. Strike quality is another important consideration. Although modern mint equipment produced remarkably consistent coins, small differences still occurred. Some 1953 Wheat pennies display exceptionally sharp details throughout Lincoln's portrait, including crisp hairlines, a well-defined beard, and bold lettering. The wheat ears on the reverse may appear full and sharply detailed. Other examples show softer features because of worn dies or lighter striking pressure. Strongly struck coins are generally preferred because they best showcase the original artistry of the design. Surface preservation also plays a major role in collector demand. Even coins that never circulated may have acquired small contact marks while stored inside large mint bags with thousands of other pennies. Experts inspect every area under magnification, searching for scratches, fingerprints, carbon spots, stains, or environmental damage. Coins with clean, original surfaces consistently receive greater collector interest. One of the most common mistakes made by beginning collectors is cleaning old coins. Many people believe polishing a coin increases its value because it becomes shiny. Unfortunately, the opposite is almost always true. Cleaning removes the original mint surface, creates microscopic scratches known as hairlines, and permanently changes the appearance of the coin. Once the original finish is removed, it can never be restored. If you discover a 1953 Wheat penny, resist the temptation to clean it. Never use toothpaste, baking soda, vinegar, metal polish, or chemical cleaners. Preserving originality remains one of the most important rules in coin collecting. Professional grading, companies carefully evaluate submitted coins using strict industry standards. Specialists examine luster, strike quality, wear eye appeal, and surface preservation before assigning an official numerical grade. Even a 1-point improvement in grade can significantly increase collector demand because the finest surviving examples become increasingly scarce. Collectors also search for mint-made errors and die varieties. While most 1953 Wheat pennies were struck normally, a small number display fascinating. Production mistakes such as die cracks, clipped planchets, off-center strikes, lamination errors, or repunched mint marks. These unusual coins are highly interesting because every genuine mint error represents a unique event during the manufacturing process. Another reason collectors enjoy the 1953 Lincoln Wheat penny is its place in history. It was produced during the final years of the Wheat Penny series, only a few years before the reverse design changed forever in 1959. That makes every 1953 Wheat Penny, part of the closing chapter of one of America's longest-running and most beloved coin designs. Auction records consistently demonstrate that beautifully preserved examples attract the strongest collector attention. Coins displaying brilliant original red color, vibrant luster, sharp strikes, and exceptionally clean surfaces often become highlights of advanced collections because so few have survived in such remarkable condition. Imagine where your own 1953 Wheat penny may have traveled. It may have purchased a newspaper, a bottle of soda, or a candy bar during the early 1950s. It may have passed through countless hands before someone recognized it as a wheat penny and carefully placed it inside a coin album. For decades, it may have remained untouched, preserving its remarkable appearance for another generation of collectors. If you're examining a 1953 D. Lincoln wheat penny, first confirm the small D mint mark beneath the date. Carefully inspect Lincoln's portrait, the lettering, and the wheat ears on the reverse. Look for strong original color, bright cartwheel luster, and crisp details. Pay close attention to the surfaces and never clean the coin. If it appears unusually well preserved or displays an interesting mint error or variety, professional authentication may be worth considering. The Lincoln Wheat Penny continues to rank among the most collected coin series in America because it combines history, artistry, affordability, and the thrill of discovery. Every collector hopes to uncover an exceptional example hidden where nobody expected it. So, the next time you search through loose change, open a forgotten family coin collection, or discover an old jar filled with pennies, don't overlook the 1953 D. Lincoln Wheat Penny. It may seem like an ordinary 1-cent coin, but behind its familiar bronze appearance lies more than 70 years of American history, remarkable craftsmanship, and the possibility of owning one of the finest surviving examples of a true American classic. Sometimes the greatest treasures aren't locked away in museums or hidden inside treasure chests. They're quietly waiting in everyday collections, ready for someone to recognize the incredible story they've carried through generations.